this Voice plus AI meetup. This is the third one we've done this year, and it has been super fun to see what everybody is building and to see how fast this community is growing. If 2023 was the year that generative AI vaulted into the mainstream, 2024 is shaping up to be the year of real-time AI. A lot of us who are working on lots of different angles here are pushing to make things lower latency, higher throughput, or even both. And there are, I think, 4 things that are top of mind for me this week. Everything's changing so fast. That'll be a new list next week. But first, we're seeing a lot of traction in the enterprise for voice conversational use cases. And there's real revenue starting for those use cases, and they feel like a new thing that's here to stay. Second, you can now generate with the latest diffusion models images in less than 100 milliseconds, sometimes substantially less. We'll hear about that from one of our panelists. And that's unlocking a whole lot of experimentation, and where that goes, we will see. Third, I have seen several private demos this month of video models that are like this close to generating coherent, high-quality streams in real time. And when there are multiple video models that can do real time, that's going to unlock a bunch of stuff. And fourth, there's a huge amount of experimentation with AI friends and coaches, therapists, romantic partners. I think all of us who work in this space, or most of us anyway, are pretty convinced that it's not going to be that long before we all just take for granted having a squad of AI companions that are part of our lives. And it sounds weird now, the way a lot of new technologies sound weird, but I remember when it was really weird to see people wearing a Bluetooth headset in a grocery store or out on the street, and we all take that for granted now, and this feels broadly similar. We've got people on a panel tonight, thank you all, who are building this future in 3 complementary ways, and I'm just going to hand the mics to them to introduce themselves, their companies, and what they're working on. We'll talk a little bit here on the panel, and then we have half a dozen short demos, which are going to be really fun, and little bits of Q&A for those demos, and then we'll mingle some more. So again, thank you all for coming out tonight. I'll pass the mic to Jay.
Thanks, Quinn. Nice to see all y'all. I'm Jay. I work at Oracle. I run our AI infrastructure team. So we've been building really large superclusters at extreme scale for the past 6 years. We've kind of been doing it in stealth, where only people in San Francisco who know a friend who's using Oracle's AI infrastructure knows about it. But yeah,
Hi, my name is Logan. I work at Cloudflare as a developer educator for AI, and I've been also working on some of the inference optimization experiments and things that we're kind of doing behind the scenes. And yeah, super excited to chat.
Hello, my name is Gorkum. I'm the co-founder of AI. We are a generative media platform for developers. So what that means is we would do everything image, audio, video, and 3D related. We try to stay away from LLMs, but really excited about this multi-modal architecture that's emerging.
I'll start with Logan as our gracious host tonight at Cloudflare. You guys launched something like 17 models today. You have a whole bunch of models in your workers catalog. It's exciting. It's also a little bit intimidating if you're starting on this generative AI learning curve. How do you guide Cloudflare customers or other developers that you're talking to around like what models are good for what use cases or where to get started?
Yeah, so the way that I think about this is there's a lot of these really exciting new use cases that people want to reach for. You can think the LLM chatbot, and how can I have an LLM chatbot but for my thing, my industry, whatever. But I think that really the thing that's going to become very clear is you're going to be able to abstract complex software with some smaller models that suddenly things that are complex suddenly become very easy, but these tasks are relatively simple. For example, we launched a summarization model today that simply you can quickly summarize text, and this is a lot smaller model, a faster model than something you might reach for, like Llama 2, for example, and write this prompt that says, summarize X and whatever, but you end up spending a lot more for this when it's actually not needed. And you can extrapolate that across a bunch of different use cases and reach for these smaller models that just simply abstract what otherwise would have been complex software. And yeah, in short, those are the kinds of things that we're trying to help people reach for. And so a lot of the models we released today are kind of smaller and more niche in their use case. Yeah.
How do you think about the models that you prioritize? I have to say, you guys roll out the fastest inferencing models faster than most other people. How do you do that?
By fast, you mean like how fast you put it on the website, or how fast the model runs?
So one thing that's impressive about you guys is it's both. It's often you have the model up first and it's fastest.
Yeah, so it's funny. We have a distributed team. Some of my team members are in Europe and some of them are here. Most of the time, if there's a model release while I'm sleeping, by the time I woke up, someone put it already in the website and we have users coming. That's what happened recently actually with SDXL Lightning. They released it at night, so I didn't see it, and then by the time I woke up, one of my team members put it on the website, and it's already on Hacker News, and we have a demo running. So it is really challenging to figure out what makes sense to create a demo and what makes sense to put up a playground. I think over the last year and a half we have an eye for what's impressive, what's going to be different than other things. So we choose those models and we try to create the playground for it as fast as possible, and we try to optimize the inference. So by the time that playground is up, that's the fastest way to run that model.
Can you say what SDXL Lightning is? Because there's a lot of diffusion models.
Yeah, of course. So it is a distillation of SDXL, which was created by Stability, but the distillation is created by ByteDance. So usually with SDXL, to create an image, it takes 25 to 30 steps, but with these distillation techniques, you can do it in fewer steps, sometimes one or few, like 4 or 8. And that speeds up the inference time by a lot. So you can create these real-time experiences, like you can start typing and the image keeps changing as you type, or you can do like image-to-image experiences where you are drawing and on the side the AI is kind of interpreting that and drawing its own interpretation for you. So and this used to be possible with like lower quality models, but with SDXL Lightning, the quality is almost as good as SDXL. So the speed is there, but no sacrifice from quality. So it's really exciting.
If you haven't played with the SDXL Lightning, it's hard to say. Playground on FAL, you should. It's really fun, and it also feels like one of those glimpses of the future. Speaking of glimpses of the future, Jay, I keep meeting companies that are doing stuff on Oracle, that are doing really cool things. It does have the feeling that the cool kids are doing a bunch of new stuff on OCI. From your perspective, what are you seeing that's most mind-blowing to you that you see before other people do?
I think what's most astonishing is how quickly the cutting edge has changed for us. We've gone through building the biggest clusters in the world in gigantic data centers, several kilometers long, to trying to decide to put a data center in every zip code in the United States so that we can serve stuff in real time. And so we get glimpses into really brief, amazing new technology, but then figuring out how we serve it at scale has become the challenge every time, or each new iteration. Like some of the diffusion models need extremely specific hardware, and some can run on any CPU you choose. And so that's been one of the challenging parts for us at scale, is how do we meet all these different changes with all the new models.
How much are you constrained by access to NVIDIA GPUs these days?
I'm down in Santa Clara almost every week asking NVIDIA for the GPUs just like everybody else, but actually not as much on NVIDIA GPUs, frankly. Like they have caught up and it's all the other pieces in the supply chain. So if one day it's GPUs, the next day it's networking, the next day it's optics, the next day it's how many people can we fit in this data center at the same time to build these GPUs. So it's a cascading effect that we're fixing over time.
Well, the growth is really interesting to see, and I'm sure it's challenging to keep up with. Same question for both Cloudflare and Fel. What are the constraints on scaling these days?
I think that, in our case, what we're trying to do is enable a broad variety of use cases. And what I find particularly challenging is, depending on the type of model, but even among LLMs, the model architecture, you're going to have, there's an incredible opportunity to, with the inference software that you're using, the inference engines that you're using. An example are, VLM is a popular option. There's TensorRT LLM is another popular option, and these have specific model architectures that maybe they'll work pretty well with, and others that they maybe don't work with at all. And then there are some newer model architectures that there aren't these platforms available yet in order to serve them efficiently. And what we're really trying to do is just see how we can drive down inference costs. And the solution to that isn't necessarily go and put the biggest GPUs possible on the edge. That's not necessarily going to achieve that goal. It's going to be this combination of this work at the software level, this work that's specific to our model architectures. And so in summary, it's just that you kind of have to pick. You have to pick, like I think that Fel's done really well. They picked the kind of image domain and are excellent at that. And it's actually a lot harder, I think, to do this like broad variety of models like we're doing, because when you're not specifically focused, you have to bring in all this different software, different components to, and then try and become an expert at all of them. And yeah, I hope that makes sense, but.
Yeah, what really works for us is we work with various different cloud providers. So Oracle, we are trying things out there, actually a couple others, maybe someday even Cloudflare. So when we are on top of these different ones, we can have regional variety, we can have availability from all different providers. But then having this distributed serverless system, maintaining that and making sure you can scale up and down and distribute the model weights to different geographies, all of that becomes a problem. So I think we are past that point that it is hard to find GPUs, and then now we are solving real technical problems like being able to be as close to the users, being able to run inference as fast as possible, but also eliminating any cold starts, any time to pull containers, any time to download models. Like all of that is now unacceptable to the user on the other side of the device, the phone or the browser. So the end-to-end experience needs to be as fast as possible, and that's what we are trying to do right now. Yeah.
We have some demos that just stay connected to your WebSockets and show fun image-to-image stuff in public spaces, and those are good monitoring tools actually, because you walk by the screen and if they're down, And you posted some pretty amazing metrics on Twitter casually about how much growth you were seeing in that playground, and your systems stayed up, which I find really impressive, because my co-founder often says that we were really, really unwise to pick a domain at daily where 5 nines of uptime is what every customer expects all the time. So kudos with this last week of growth.
Thank you. And believe it or not, it wasn't a huge amount of GPUs that was handling that load, because the inference time is so little. It's 150 or 200 seconds. We can actually the innovation there is to be able to keep the GPU as busy as possible. So it's kind of unacceptable to connect one user to a one GPU because you have to wait while the next frame is coming. So what we do there, we have a multiplexing architecture where 5 or 10 users connect to one GPU and then they fill up the empty cycles in the GPU. So your GPU is fully utilized, but you can still run inference as fast as possible.
And speaking of GPUs and hardware and keeping the hardware full, I think the biggest news in the last week in our world probably has been Grok. We shipped some amazing new hardware and some amazing demos to go with it. The Appy folks who did a demo last meetup here are powering those Grok voice interactive demos, which is really fun to see. I'm curious what all of you thought of the stuff Grok started showing off. Jay, are we going to see not just Grok silicon, but other new kinds of silicon on Oracle Cloud in the next years?
Yeah, I think so. As much as I want to show up in my leather jacket and just have everything be green, we want to see a bunch of different accelerators come to scale, whether it's Grok or whether it's Grok's demo is amazing. But there will be others. AMD's shipped a really great GPU, and we'll show that at scale. So there will be more options than just NVIDIA GPUs, for sure.
I might have a more, I don't know if this is like a controversial take on this, but
We like hot takes.
we like hot take. This is a hot take that I'm excited for inference that is not on GPU at all or LPU. There's been I think a significant amount of innovation recently around CPU inference, and there's just been a significant amount of innovation even around just quantized inference. And suddenly now you're able to get significantly higher throughput and tokens per second for LLMs specifically, with it, but also to maintain the LLM's accuracy with new quantization methods. Examples that I think are interesting to look at are this XLLama 2 is a library that's really interesting. MLC is another library that's really interesting. And these also enable you in certain cases, certainly getting closer to just simply using CPU inference only. There are some text-to-speech models which I'm unfortunately blanking on the name of this model in particular, but that actually have like CPU-only demos that are real-time. And so I think this is moving really fast to where obviously this drives down the cost for a lot of different use cases when suddenly this is possible. So yeah, I'm really hoping that's a direction we'll be able to move into a lot faster.
There's a brand new paper from Microsoft Research showing monetization too. They call it 1.5 bits ternary logic. Really, really interesting results. If you haven't seen that paper and you like papers about this stuff, you should check it out.
Yeah, that one is incredible, but I'll pass it.
In my opinion, the more compute we have, the better it is. We need to accelerate. Honestly, I don't know enough about how exactly Grok's chips run. I don't know enough about it, but would love to get my hands on some to try some of these diffusion models on it, if it even makes sense to run them on that type of chips. But yeah, I'm excited for bigger models that require more memory, more compute. I think, as certain things will run on device or on CPUs, we'll always have bigger models that requires different kinds of systems. So there's space for everything.
Let's play 60 seconds of that Grok CNN clip, both because it's a demo that is really impressive in a space that's near and dear to the hearts of all of us who come to this kind of meetup, and also because it's hilarious because the CNN host is a character.
Hey, I'm Ross. You can talk to me like I'm a person.
All right, I will do. What makes you different from a large language model that I may have used in the past?
Sure, I'm a bit different from those big language models you've used before. I'm a language user interface, or LUI, designed to have more natural...
Got it? How similar are you to a human brain?
Well, I'm not a human brain, but I'm designed to understand and respond to you like one.
Yeah.
I can process and generate human language in a natural way.
Got it.
But I don't...
Tell me something most people don't know.
Here's something interesting. Did you know that octopuses have 3 hearts? 2 pump blood to the gills, while the third pumps it to the rest of the body. And when an octopus swims,
Did you
the
tell
heart that delivers blood to the body stops beating, which is why octopuses prefer to crawl rather than swim, unless necessary.
Write me a poem. It's Valentine's Day. A very short one. Very, 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 very short. But lovely.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm glad you're having a lovely day. I hope you get to spend time with someone special or do something fun. Is there anything you'd like to do about her?
No, I'm not. I'm giving up on you. You've done everything.
Congratulations to Grok for the fast inference, and to Vappy for being able to deal with the interruptions. The Vappy folks are here tonight. You can talk to them if you're interested in how this demo came together, because I think it's a fun story. Now we have some demos. First up, we have browser base, and we'll play the browser base video and then ask Paul a couple questions from there.
Browser base. Web browser infrastructure for AI. We make it really easy to web code on a web browser in the cloud. In this demo, we'll write a quick script to open up a simple web application I made for Retail AI. A really hot place to start up with very fast audio transcription. It's going to capture some audio I've embedded in the page, transcribe it, confirm the output. Testing these workflows regularly is really important if you're building tools that interact with the web browser, especially in AI. So let's go ahead and get started with the demo. Okay, you can see my demo page here I built using Retail AI. I'm going to go ahead and click start, and it already has my audio encoded in the page.
Hey there, I'm here to help. What's on your mind today? Hi there, my startup. I'm here to support you. What specifically would you like help with regarding your startup?
Great. You can see that worked, and now we're going to run that in the cloud and make sure that it's able to transcode my audio correctly next time. Okay, so let's look at the code that we'll use to run the demo in the cloud on my cloud browser. So here I have a simple JavaScript file using Playwright, a common browser automation framework. It's going to open a browser, connect to the browser-based cloud browser, and then it's going to open a new page and log the page and load the page. This isn't going to accomplish everything we need. We actually have to click some buttons. So I'll go ahead and add that code now. Okay, so I'll go ahead and type node retaildemo.js. I'll let that run. And here you can see the AI responded. And of course, when we say, did it say what we wanted it to say? That's true, which is great. It means that we reliably have Retail AI running in a cloud browser and transcribing my audio correctly. If you're using web browsers and any part of your application, I'd love to chat with you. You can email me. My email is paul@browserbase.com, or I'm here at this meeting today. Great. Good to meet everybody.
I have a question for Paul, because I've seen little bits and pieces of what you've done for a long time. We're early in the tooling for actually building these production AI applications, and that's something that gets talked about at almost every AI event I go to. How did you get to the browser-based idea around developer tooling?
Yeah, thanks, Quinn. Quinn and I have known each other for like years now, which is really cool. We're super early in agents, and agents often need web browsers. But for the longest time, people have been using web browsers to automate things on the web. Like Plaid used to, before they had APIs, literally spawn a headless browser and log into your bank account. There's insurance companies, financial institutions, like large companies using headless browsers. But now all these AI companies using headless browsers to go have their agents do stuff on your behalf, like upload documents, check websites. And that's what BrowserBase is about. It's giving AI developers the same headless browser infra that big companies do. I've been doing headless browsers for a long time at my last startup, Stream Club, because we were doing headless browser video encoding. And yeah, I'm just the headless browser guy. I only got one trick, is headless browsers. So yeah, come find me later if there's any more questions.
Thank you. Next up we have Uptrain. Are the Uptrain folks available to come up front? Yeah, come on up and we'll play your video. And and you can answer a question or two. Thank you for being here.
Single platform to manage your prompts. Uptrain simplifies your workflow by providing a unified collaborative platform where you and your team can effortlessly create, test, productionize, and manage all your prompts. No more juggling. Everything you need is right here at your fingertips. Diverse evaluation metrics. With Uptrain, choose from 20 plus pre-configured metrics or create your own custom one. All you need is to select how you want to create a metric, fill in the requirements, and it's done. Tailor your evaluation metrics to suit your specific needs, giving you the flexibility to measure success on your terms. Regression testing made simple. Uptrain automates the whole testing process, right from generating responses, orchestrating different workflows to generating evaluation results, ensuring that every change is rigorously evaluated without any manual effort. Sit back and relax as Uptrain takes care of the workflow complexities for you. Detailed logging and root cause analysis. Uptrain logs cost, latency, quality scores for each and every LM call. Uptrain gives you full view of the health of your LLM pipeline along with root cause analysis to find and debug issues before you see a dip in your customer satisfaction. Monitor and analyze conversations in detail. Uptrain empowers you to monitor and analyze all your conversations by logging user feedback as well as scores for user satisfaction, query resolution, turns to resolve, etc. Gaining insights that will help you refine and enhance the user experience. Uptrain, the enterprise-grade full-stack platform you need to understand, experiment with, and improve your LM applications.
I think all of us who are building production features that depend on LLMs know this pain point. Questions for the Uptrain team? How did you guys come up with this area to work in?
So I've been building machine learning models for the last 8 years, and one of the biggest pain point was that no matter how well my model performs on the validation data set, when it goes into production, I don't know what it is doing. So we initially started with the idea that we want to give visibility to the end users on how well their models are doing in production. And with LLMs, we saw that the issue is even bigger. Like, they don't even know how well their models are. Like, they don't have a number for the accuracy. So that's why we decided to build Uptrain. Our core evaluation framework is open source. And on top of that, we give deep insights to understand why the performance is low, what needs improvement, what are the patterns, and so on. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up we have Conway, who I saw Conway's demo at a demo night that Paul from BrowserBase put together, and I DM'd him on Twitter and said, can you please show this demo at the Voice and AI Meetup? He said, it's not really voice, and I said, I don't care. It's really, really great, and it's real time, so it counts. So let's see Conway's video.
Hey, my name is Conway, and I'm demonstrating AI that understands and reacts to the real world in real time. So I built this gamified reality app, and as you can see, it's detecting that I'm petting my dog, and each time it's then giving me 10 points. And it can do this for all sorts of scenarios, like right here, drinking a glass of water, that's giving me 10 points for staying hydrated. So fundamentally, what you're able to do is tell the AI to look for particular contexts and then do something. So if you see someone, drinking a glass of water, call this success message that then gives them 10 points. But that applies to a bunch of other use cases beyond gamification. For example, you could use it for drones. A drone operator asked me to detect a lost cow from drone footage. I didn't think it would work because it has no, the resolution is very bad. But yeah, I was able to detect a cow. Same thing for detecting packages. So what's interesting about this, and what I'd like to leave everyone with, is that there's this middle ground that's emerging between large vision models, which are quite slow, like GPT Vision or Lava, and object detection models, which are quite fast, but they require a bunch of specialized training. So there's now these emerging models like Moondream that are this great balance between highly knowledgeable but still very fast. What you're seeing here is about a 400 millisecond response time. So yeah, that's my demo. I'm working on Context Cam and would love to hear any of your questions.
Yeah, Moondream's really impressive, and your use of it is really compelling. Did you try other vision models?
I did, yeah, but for this use case, Moondream's the best, I think. It's a research model. It'll be going into commercial use, I think, in a few weeks.
Is it open source?
TBD on the exact licensing. So this is a very early model. It was released like a week and a half ago.
What kind of hardware?
Yeah, I should have highlighted that. So the coolest thing to me is that runs on a T4. It's a 1.6 billion parameter model. The next version will likely be able to run in most edge scenarios. So I think that's where it gets really disruptive to existing computer vision use cases.
You have Lava on file, is that right?
I was gonna ask, is Lava too slow for you?
Yes.
I get 2 second, 1 second responses from Lava.
Big difference between 2 seconds and 400 milliseconds, though. The thing that
You
takes
can't argue with that. You just
so plus that's an unoptimized setup. Well, I think we can get that further down. I'm a terrible programmer, so.
We are doing some work on Lava. Like, I think we could get sub 1 second, but again, it's yeah.
So this is, it's like most emerging research models where you're taking existing data sets and cobbling together, doing some vibe-based deletion and addition. So yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up we have Hyperbound, which enables realistic, sometimes scarily realistic, training for sales teams. Are the Hyperbound folks here? Yeah, great.
Hello, who's this? Hi David, this is Sri Harsha from Hyperbound Colin. I know I'm calling you out of the blue here. Do you have like 30 seconds to spare?
Alright, but make it quick.
Yeah, no worries.
What's this
David.
about?
Yeah, no worries, David. So the reason why I'm calling is because, I actually run a company called Hyperbound. We're a startup, and I noticed that there were almost 30 SDRs from your team at Databricks using Hyperbound at the current moment. Have you heard of this before? Have you heard of any of your SDRs talking about it?
Hyperbound? Never heard of it. And how did you get my number?
Yeah, no worries, David. So I actually got your number from our internal system here. We use a tool called Apollo. I'm sure you're familiar with it. That's where I got your number from. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick call and let you know, there are a lot of SDRs in your org using it right now. And thought I'd reach out and see if you guys would explore the paid platform by any chance.
Apollo, huh? Well, that explains it, but I'm pretty surprised to hear that SDRs are using Hyperbound without me knowing. What exactly does your platform do? Why would they be using it?
Yeah, no worries. So, Hyperbound, basically what we do is, you've heard of like sales role plays before, I'm assuming, correct?
Yes, I'm familiar with role plays. We do them quite often here, but what's your point?
Yeah, so sometimes like role plays, they can be really unrealistic when you're doing them with your manager, with your peers, and obviously you know how much time it takes to schedule a meeting and actually try to get someone on a call so you can do a proper role play with them. So what we've done at Hyperbound is basically we've automated that whole process. So now your reps can actually role play with an AI instead, and that allows your reps basically, they could just go home after work, spend 30 minutes on Hyperbound, practice just doing cold calls and discovery calls on there, and it's just a really great way for them to get async coaching and more at-bats.
Interesting. Thank you.
So after that call, how did you know if the person did what they were supposed to do?
Yeah, so I couldn't fit everything in this demo, but basically, after the call, we have a scorecard, and we have a whole analytics page where we actually score the entire call. We'll give you, an aggregated score as well as like specific points where you messed up or you need to improve on. And we have like a transcript, and yeah.
The short videos are my fault. I'm very hardcore about these being 2-minute videos. It's totally on me. What's the LLM under that demo?
Yeah, so under the hood, it's GPT-4 Turbo, and everything is powered by our friends over at Vappy. But yeah, we've got more models doing the scoring afterwards. And by the way, if you want to check out all these features that Sai was talking about, head over to hyperbound.ai and you can start a simulation in 20 seconds. Yeah.
You should sell them. It's really hard to sell to these AIs.
These AIs are really hard to close. Like, seriously, experienced salespeople take like 4 or 5 tries. So, I'd love to see if any of you can get it.
I was just curious, so I'm not, deep in the engineering world. What does it take to get up and running on each type of use case like this? This is, for sales. If someone wanted to do this customer success or field operations, what does that look like in terms of getting up and running quickly?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's also really interesting for us because we have another model that basically takes in the information you want to build a hyperbound bot about and then translates that into like the config space for these. So it only takes 2 minutes from our user's end, but from our end, it's a lot of fine-tuning on the side.
Thank you. Next up we have, yeah.
Can you configure the AI to be more adversarial?
Yeah, so we've got 5 different moods. This is our rudest one. We have a rude and sassy one, which is even harder to close, in my opinion. But yeah, lots of options there.
It was awesome.
When are you going to ship CNN host level?
Ooh, Vappy has to implement the bot interrupting the user, and then we'll get that.
Soon. Thank you. Next up we have, and next to last, we have recall. Or the recall, yes. David, thank you. Let's play the recall video.
Recall.ai is the API for meeting data. We let you get the real-time audio, video, transcription, metadata, and more from any video conference. We power over 200 companies and we record millions of hours of data. In this video, we're going to show you how to get the real-time transcript from a Zoom call. We're going to be calling the recall.ai API. We're going to pass in the meeting URL. That's the URL of our meeting. We're going to pass in the bot's name, and we're going to pass in the transcription provider we want is meeting captions. And what this means is we're going to be capturing the captions that are generated by the meeting platform. For example, Zoom or Teams or Meet will generate captions when you're in the call and speaking, and we'll send those captions in real time to this destination URL. And that's just a webhook receiver page that's going to display all of the requests that are sent to it. So we're going to send this API request. When I click send, we get back an HTTP 201. And this means the bot's been created and it's going to be joining the call. It's entered the waiting room. I'm going to admit it. And then I'm going to start talking and we're going to see the transcript appear in the sidebar. So I'm going to start talking and talking and talking. And the first transcript segment is going to appear in just a moment. You can see it just showed up. And when I click on it, it shows the words that I was speaking. It says the start time, it says the end time, it says who the speaker was. And you can see that I'm getting these continuously in real time as I keep talking, and the bot's receiving and sending that data. Thanks for watching. Recall.ai is the API for meeting data.
I'm sure you're seeing the same thing we're seeing it daily, that for a long time lots of people have transcribed some of their meetings, but now people are transcribing lots of their meetings because there's so much more value to extract using LLMs. What are you seeing your customers do as pipelines, workflows, outcomes with this data?
This is definitely something we've seen. LLMs have unlocked conversations, which are the world's largest data set. And there's a ton of companies building tools on top of this data. So we see companies in sales, we see companies in customer success, we see companies in product, engineering, productivity, legal technology, telehealth. Basically every sort of domain where humans are talking to each other, which is a lot. And everyone's trying to extract data and build LLM tools on this data.
I think that's a really nice way to put it about conversations. I've said to several of the really big models companies that conversations are the dark matter of training data. It's a massive, massive volume of tokens, and they're, other than by you guys, very rarely captured. Questions for Recall?
A lot of the times we already see the transcripts being available after the meeting. I see that you're able to show real-time transcript. Do you foresee any new use cases for the real-time transcript data?
Real-time is really powerful because it allows you to display things to the user while they're doing the interaction. Like if you're building a sales coaching tool, you can actually tell your salesperson in real time what to do in order to close that deal. And that's a lot more valuable than 2 hours after they've already lost the deal.
So it seems like the transcription is, is actually, you got it from the meeting platform, right? So what's the value that you guys are adding, to the customer experience?
That's a great question. So what Recall does is we give you access to data from meetings. It's actually really hard if you've ever tried to build a meeting bot. You have to connect with all the platforms. There's Zoom, which is the big one, but lots of people use Teams, lots of people use Google Meet, lots of people, especially enterprises, use WebEx. You've got to maintain all these integrations, you've got to run a ton of infrastructure to re-encode all of this video. I started Recall because my previous company needed to get data from meetings, and we spent basically all of our engineering time maintaining this infrastructure and maintaining these integrations. So it's actually surprisingly hard.
So do you guys work on anything on the video part, in addition to the audio?
Yes, we give you the video, we give you it as a file, we can give you it in real-time streams, we can send it to you in RTMP, basically every format that you want.
I have a question. So is your product mostly for recording the meeting, or do you have any, I don't know whether you have this feature now or in the future vision, is actually does it rely on the user to provide metrics about measuring success, or are you planning as a product to provide certain feature, to make use of the meeting data?
So our customers are companies that build tools for end users. Like our customers would be sales tools, our customers would be customer success tools. So whether or not a meeting is successful depends on what the use case is, and that's defined by the customer. We just provide the infrastructure for them to get the data, process it in a convenient format, and then it's up to them.
Thank you. You could find David afterwards when we're mingling, as with all the people who demoed. One more left till... Let's keep going, because we just got one more. I went to a hackathon organized by the AI Engineer Foundation on Saturday, and one of the teams built a voice-controlled Vision Pro app to fly drones. And so I said to them, you have to send me a video to show during the meetup. I think one member of that team is here. He can uncloak if he wants to, but he said there's no questions. So this is a tantalizing, slightly mysterious video that combines Vision Pro, running Whisper, and drones, and that seems like the right note to end on.
All right, Jerome, start please. Up. Hi, John. Wait, John, stay. Are you guys seeing what I'm hearing what I'm seeing on my Vision Pro? I just want to make sure you guys are seeing what you see, the drone up there. You see.
We've gone to the great outdoors now. did crash during the demo on Saturday. If you look all the way in the back, you can see the drone pilot wearing her Vision Pro. Thank you, everybody, for coming, for sitting through the panel and the demos. And you can hang out here till the Cloudflare folks kick us out.